Hello, this screencast will give you information about the upcoming history research project to be completed in 7th grade history. Um, Previously, you wrote down one question on distance learning. It could have been on Veracross, or you could have asked the question about Google Meet. You're going to add two more questions on the same post-it note, but this time those two questions are going to be on the history research project. Make sure you bring this post-it note with 3 questions total to the Google Meet on the 30s. That means periods 1 and 2 will meet at 10:30, periods 3 and 4 at 11:30, and period 7 at 2:30 on Google Meet, and you will have these questions ready to show me and ask them. Remember, it's questions about something you don't understand and need clarification on. Everything comes from the Declaration of Independence and our 5 ideals. So does our project goal. It matches up or is connected to the ideals. So your goal is to dive deep into your topic and be able to demonstrate how it connects to one of the founding ideals. In other words, select a topic that either expanded or denied an ideal. Did you select your topic yet? If you haven't, please go to Google Classroom. There is an assignment on Google Classroom under the History Research heading, and it is guiding you on how to select a topic. There's a screencast for that as well. Project elements. When Ken Burns makes his famous history films, he has to do a research project before he actually makes the movie. You're going to be doing something very similar to what he does. So you have to select a topic that came before 1990. So it's 30 years old or older. Notes. You will take 100 total notes. That's 20 per section. You'll know what the sections are a little bit later on in this presentation. You've done this before on the DC reports. You took well over 100 notes. So you're capable of doing this in a 2-month span. 12 sources. Also, during the Washington, D.C. reports, you use more than 12 sources. The only difference is you're going to have to find the sources, but I will be giving you help in that as well. You need 9 secondary sources and 3 primary sources. A secondary source is like a history book. A primary source is something that happened at the time of the event. A newspaper article, a journal entry, a photograph, an interview with the person at the time of the event. Recording your sources. You will put your sources into a website called EasyBib, which organizes your bibliography, and you'll be writing annotations, which are 2 or 3 sentence summaries of why you selected a particular source or what information it provided you with. Types of sources you can use. You'll mostly be using websites, but through the internet you can also get pictures and videos. And you can use YouTube if you find a good, reliable documentary on your topic. Secondary sources, again, like a history book, or primary sources, a photograph from the time or a newspaper article. Project elements continued. Dr. David Imhotep is a professor, and he wrote a book called The First Africans, or The First Americans Were Africans. And that's his argument. And then in the book, he provides evidence for why the first Americans came from Africa. You will be doing the same thing, creating an argument or a claim or opinion and defending it. So it's called a thesis statement, and it's a short 3-sentence paragraph with an argument or opinion your writing will defend. And it answers the question, how does my topic either expand or deny the ideal? Everything comes from the thesis statement. All your writing will defend it as evidence. Project elements continued. You will be writing 5 text boxes. So in addition to the thesis statement, you're writing 5 other paragraphs. So that's 6 total. Heart of the story of the topic you are researching. It's the actual event. You will write a paragraph on that. That's the first thing you're going to be researching. Historical context. These are the events that led up to or caused your topic. And there's something called background. That's something that happened long before your topic that caused it. For example, the civil rights movement of the 1960s was caused by the Civil War. Build up. This is an event that caused your topic, but it happened closer to the date of your topic. I could say the Red Summer caused the civil rights movement of the 1960s. Because it happened in 1919, it was a little bit closer to the actual event, but it caused it. Impact. This is the effects of your topic. So something that your topic affected directly after it happened is called the short-term impact. So a short-term impact of civil rights might be women's rights, which started happening in the 1970s. A long-term impact of the civil rights movement maybe happened 30 or 40 years later. You could say Black Lives Matter. So that is the long-term impact. These are your 5 paragraphs in addition to the thesis. These will be the focus of your notes, as well as the drafts you will be writing. Okay, project elements continued. You're going to create a presentation, and that presentation is in the form of a website, and it's going to highlight the information that is most relevant in connecting your topic to the theme as well as your thesis, expanding or denying the ideal. And you also create a 5-minute screencast that summarizes your website, and we're going to share those screencasts with each other. Okay, throughout the course of this project over the next 2 months, we'll be doing a lot of checks. We'll be doing note checks to make sure you're taking the necessary notes. Source checks, that you are gathering reliable sources. Drafts, that you are writing your thesis draft as well as those 5 text box drafts. And those will be returned to you to make revisions, so you can make changes to those. Right, where is the overview and calendar? I'm going to show you how you get to it. Everything, once again, comes through Veracross. It's your first place to go, but more than likely it's going to take you to Google Classroom. So if I go to the lesson for today, I can see a link to period 2. If I select this link to period 2 classroom page, it's going to get you to the History Research Project heading. Underneath that is History Research Project Overview and Calendar, and here will be this screencast as well as the project overview and the calendars. The calendars are a little different for periods 2, 4, and 1, 3, 7. Here is the project overview. I just went over all this information with you, but it's good to revisit this document, especially to take a look at the rubric at the end of what you will be graded on. We'll go over this in greater detail as the project gets closer to our due date. But it's out of 100 points, which is the same as your final. Also on here is the calendar, and I'm going to show you the 2 different calendars. This is the period 2-4 calendar, and you're going to notice that almost everything is on the days that you actually have history. So Mondays and Wednesdays. There are 2 Fridays that you will have to watch a screencast and do an assignment. This Friday, April 3rd, as well as Friday, May 1st. Other than that, everything is on the day that you have history. Now, to look at an individual cell, you have the due, or what assignment is due that day. Then you have briefly what we're doing that day in class. Then in red, you have what your homework is. And then if you look ahead, that says Heart of the Story text box draft 1. You'll notice that it says due 5-4. I go to 5-4, and here is where it is due. So you can use this calendar to know exactly what's coming up for you, and we're going to stick very closely to this. Period 3, 1, and 7, you have a similar calendar. We're only doing, most of your teaching is on the Tuesday and Thursday, but you also have this Friday, April 3rd, as well as the 1st. You will have an assignment that you need to do, but otherwise it's broken down exactly the same way. So you can look ahead at what you're doing. Okay, next is an example. I'm going to show you quickly an example on Japanese internment camps. That was the person's topic. All right, so first of all, the person wrote their thesis on their home page, and you can see it's very short. You're going to notice that there's always images and there's always a quote. And they're using Google Sites. Then historical context is, well, let's go heart of the story first. So heart of the story, got the quote, it's got the title, heart of the story. Here is the actual event, or what the Japanese internment camps were, and some pictures. Now before the Japanese internment camps even happened, we have background, and this is probably about the immigration of Japanese people to America. And then we have buildup, which more than likely is the bombing of Pearl Harbor, or the attack on Pearl Harbor. Then you have the impacts, short-term impact of the Japanese internment camps. May have been how it impacted the people of Japanese heritage living in the United States. And then you have the long-term impact, where this person probably wrote about reparations, which are payments that were given by the U.S. government to people that suffered in the Japanese internment camps. And again, you get a title, a quote, and some images. You will take a look at a lot of examples throughout the course of this project. So this will not be the only time you get to look at one. All right, thank you very much for listening, and remember, write 3 questions and come to the Google Meet on the 30. Thank you.